Hello, welcome to Podsongs. I'm Jack Stafford, and I interview inspiring people in service to others as inspiration for a new song. Today, I'm speaking with a Hollywood scriptwriter and showrunner of billions. His films include Solitary Man, Rounders, Ocean's 13, Runaway Jury, Knockaround Guys, and he has his own celebrated podcast called The Moment, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's chat to Brian Koppelman. You've done too many things.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I'm not the one who I'm happy not to be the one who has to figure it out. But I'm happy to talk to you about any aspect of the things that I'm interested in or that animate me.
Well, I mean, it would help if you'd at least written some sort of biography before, and then I could just take the title from that and find a word that rhymes with it, and
you'd be off and running.
Yeah, because I mean, now you're like you're called a showrunner, yeah, that's pretty cool. That sounds like, I don't know, gun runner or some other cool thing with running in the.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm fascinated by rum runners for sure. I've always thought that's a good song title, but I'm not a rum runner, sadly.
But a showrunner
yeah,
because you do, you had the Billions series, which is you're now most well known for. So you sit in this huge chair surrounded by minions, and they write this, they do everything else for you, and you're cracking the whip. And
well,
how does this?
No, I mean, mostly what I do is write the show. My partner and I mostly write the show.
Okay.
We have other writers too, but David and I, we write the majority of the show and always have. But I would say, man, that's definitely like my gig and what I do, and I love to do it. But I mean, if we're talking about something more essential, more about what it is that really makes me feel alive, it's tapping into and helping other people tap into the creative force, the thing that allows me to feel like I'm working from the most alive part of myself, because I feel like if I can find a way to work from that part of me that's most alive, then that sets me up to be really ready for engaging with other people and to try to help them do the same. I think I know from my own moments and times of frustration that when you feel like you can't access the best part of yourself in your work, it can lead to feelings of bitterness and anger. And I think that's part of what creates so much, part of what creates in normal times. These aren't normal times right now in America. We're dealing with an authoritarian, dictatorial leader. But I do think that interpersonally, the more we have the sense we're making progress, the more we have the sense we're working from the part of ourselves that we identify as the part of ourselves that's the most alive, that's the most real, that's the most true. We have a chance to do good work. We have a chance to elicit good work from others. We also have a chance to then just kind of be our best selves in our regular lives. And so, yes, I make this television show along with my partner David and a big staff of hundreds of people. But the sort of doing of that job is less interesting to me than what it means in a way to do that job, or what it meant for me to get to a place where I could do that kind of a job, meaning I could trust myself. I could trust myself enough to take the risks required to live a life fueled by creativity as opposed to a more traditional life. And so that's the thing that's the most, that I think about the most.
Okay. Oh, I'll just cross that one off then. Showrunner. I'm just crossing through. Because you called your podcast The Moment as well, because you interview people and find out like that key moment in their life.
Yeah.
That decision. So that could be something.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Aren't you fascinated by those things? I mean, you must be, by those moments where somebody has everything on the line and they can either
Sliding doors, you mean? Like go left, go right.
Yeah, and also like, where they see, I find that people in the in moments of either success or failure, often like right afterwards, you're left in this place of trying to figure out what it means. And then what you do next seems like it's really, well, what you do next is really fascinating to me. And then how you either pick yourself up, because, dealing with, I've watched people, have really a big success, and that doesn't seem to do the trick for them either. So I'm interested in all that stuff. I'm always like studying all that stuff. I guess I want to find clues to figure out how to live. I mean, as sort of common an idea as this is, and non-original, but it's not an original thought at all. But I'm always looking for some kind of roadmap. I'm always looking for the way that other people have found a way to break through, because becoming creative, being confident enough that I had something to say as an artist was so hard for me that I'm always interested in the way other people have sort of managed navigating that whole thing.
Mm. Yeah, I guess you do, but you don't interview the failures. There's many of these people have these incredible successes, so some people.
Well, that's true. Yeah, no, totally. But like also, yes, I'm very interested in that. But don't you find, Jack, that most people who have successes, when you talk to them, there's a lot of failure mixed in?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's all training. It's the more failure you have, the more lessons you've had, the more opportunities you've had to learn. So.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder with you, because you decided to be a screenwriter, but you came from the music business. You were dyed in the wool. You were Tracey Chapman's manager. Your father was president of EMI for a while. You grew up in music studios. So you could have written, I mean, songs are pretty, between you and me, that's pretty easy to write. Don't tell anyone, but yeah, you could have written songs,
Well, it's funny, man. I write songs all the time. It's like my biggest hobby. It's the thing that I spend the most time on, other than what I do for a living, is songwriting. I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I put them up. There's some songs I've written on my Instagram, and over a pandemic, I've been doing a ton of Zoom co-writing with all sorts of people in Nashville, and it's been great. And I think songwriting is really hard to do really well. Like what you do, I think, yes. Anytime you're learning that kind of craft, it's so hard, being able to sort of tell a story in this limited amount of time. I hear something like Guy Clark's Desperados Waiting for a Train. And I mean, he gives you everything in this 3.5 or 4 minutes. 2 whole lives, an entire relationship, death. It's all mortality, and doing that with this incredible economy of words and melody on top of it, and words that can be sung. Mm. So yeah, I mean, this is I really, all I do when I'm not working is I exercise every day. I meditate, exercise every day, and I play guitar and write songs. And I find it to be, I leave the world in a way when I'm doing that, and because there's no professional stakes, like the other writing I do has professional stakes. And when I'm songwriting, like, it's great. I had a song cut recently by somebody, and that's an amazing thing, but it's not my life's work. And so I can just do it for the purity of doing it. But I find great songwriters, I find it, when I hear a perfect example of a song in any genre, Jack, I'm blown away by it. It's hard to understand for me how because so many things have to come together: structure, melody, the music bed, and the words, and satisfying rhymes.
I see. There's dictionaries for that. I mean, but are you doing like a country? Are you doing country style?
Yeah, that's what I write.
Because lyrically, I mean, but I don't really like country music. I mean, I like some of the classic stuff, but the actual songwriting of country music I think is the best. they have really something to say. They really tell a story. They always have that idea, that insight, and then they make a whole a song out of it. I think it's the best songwriter.
For me, I'm very drawn to it for that. As a storyteller, I'm incredibly drawn to the stories that they are able to tell, and they want to engage you emotionally. You know what I mean? They want to engage you, not just bodily, but they want to engage you. They want to engage your emotions, and I'm interested in that. I'm really interested in that as an artist too, right? How to engage people that way.
I think with your skills and if you'd have grown up now with all this technology and with the loops and everything, and you can make a song so much easier than like Tracey Chapman, she had to be a good singer and a good stage performer. But these days, you can do it in your bedroom. And just having that taste and that, if you'd learned those loops growing up, you could have been.
That's great to say. I mean, I wish that I could. I always, when I write with someone who's great at tracks, which sometimes I do, it's such an amazing thing to me. And it makes it, I agree with you. Suddenly the thing is just exists in a different way. When you're sitting there just with your guitar, and you're playing, 1-4-5 progressions, you're sort of like, you really have to figure out the song because the other part of it is so basic, right? Even if you capo and play the chords, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still basically doing the same thing that's been done. Millions of times.
By me, I use the same chords every time. So, but I'm like a screenwriter, songwriter. So I write the guitar and the vocals, and then I take this fetus into the studio, and I come out with this beautiful baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, that's what you do with screenwriting. I mean, you're not directing, you're not. It's the same thing, no?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a showrunner, you're writing it, and then you're also overseeing the making of it. You're shooting it and you're editing it. So we're doing all that stuff. We work with directors on the show, and I've directed movies.
Oh yeah,
too, and television, but yeah, you're always just trying to use whatever the technology is in the service of delivering something that's going to cause people to have serious emotional engagement, right? And then if you're lucky enough that they get emotionally engaged, then you hope that they're going to go away and think about it and maybe take away what your intention is, right? With the songs that you write, or with the show, to me, I can't do this stuff unless I'm writing about something. That doesn't mean I'm writing about something where you have to take the message away, or I'm going to try to make sure you think the way I am. But I do think that as an artist, you are responsible to know what you're saying, or figure out what you're saying, even if you're figuring it out as you're making it. That's okay too, right? Sometimes you could start to write a song, and by the chorus, the tagline you started with is no longer the tagline that you ended with. And the thing is saying something. But if you've discovered that within the writing, the hope is someone will get engaged enough, they'll be walking around and they'll go, what does that line mean? Oh, wow. And then they'll connect these things in a different way. And I also love how songs take on different meanings, and art does, all sorts of art takes on a different meaning. When you watch a movie at 14, that movie is going to seem really different if it's a good movie, when you watch it at 28 and when you watch it at 48. And that's another amazing thing about what we all do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a more, you've got more chances to be lucky with songwriting, because when you watch a movie, you've got full attention there. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's great. But with a song, you've got the lyrics that could touch you intelligently, and then maybe the tunes are not very good, or maybe it's just got this really wonderful melody that and the lyrics are just terrible, or you've got a dancing beat which is and then there's nothing else. So you've got 3 and maybe more chances to get lucky. So I'm sticking with songwriting.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, well, what about your song? That's what I've got to get back to, because you're such
what do you want to ask me? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, what do you want to ask me
You're
about?
such a creative guy. I need you to just send me the lyrics by email. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. by tomorrow.
No, that's why I was interested. That's why I was really keen to hear what you were going to come up with, because I sit here and I'm writing lyrics all day long, and I'm I'm very excited by the idea of someone else writing them about whatever it is that you're doing. But ask me anything you want. What do you want to ask me?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't want you to have to tell. I didn't want to ask you anything really, because I heard you got so upset with being asked questions that you started making up. Like people when you were launching movies, people ask you how you met your co-writer. Every time.
Well, that's when you do junk. Well, that's only when you're doing a junket and like you're asked the same. You were in the old days when you would promote a movie. I mean, who knows what it's like now, but you'd sit in a room and you would do 35 interviews in a row. And then the interviewers would all ask you the same exact question, like 35 times. Right. So yes, somewhere around the 20th time, you just become a little bit punchy, man. And you just start because that thing, when you say the same thing over and over, the words just sound weird coming out of your mouth. So then, yes, I started making stuff up. But no, I mean, I'm a very easygoing person in this way. I'm happy to talk about anything anyone wants to talk about.
Well,
once I'm here and on a microphone, I'm anything you want.
All right. Well, I was just watching last night. I was watching the Queen's Gambit. Have you seen that new Netflix one? Have you been watching that?
No, I can't wait to watch it. My next show is I think the Crown comes out tomorrow, and that's my favorite show. So I have to watch that, and then I'll watch Queen's Gambit after. The writer and showrunner of Queen's Gambit is a guy I like a lot named Scott Frank, so I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, it must be so interesting for you to watch movies and things, because you know the makeup artist, or
yes.
So you like the Queen, yeah? Yeah.
I love the Crown. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never been interested in the royal family at all. I'm not a monarchist. I'm against it. But to me, like, that show is about duty and honor, and even when the thing to which you have fealty is completely ephemeral and absurd in many ways, and yet these people are wrestling with their duty the whole time, and they have a strong sense of what honor means, even when they act dishonorably, or even when they misorder their sense of honor. When the Queen decides that this idea matters more than her feelings about her sister and stuff. I find that show to be excellent. But if I were a British person, I don't know how I would feel.
Yeah, I'm not too fond. My parents like it, but yeah, I watched the Queen's Gambit. Yeah, the first, because I knew I was going to chat to you, so I was thinking. I tried to watch some of yours, but they're all not on Netflix. They're on Amazon. So
I didn't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I only got past the first episode, and I was looking at it critically, and they repeated so many scenes. It's like they shot it like 3 or 4 places and then kept repeating these same. It didn't seem very strong to me, so I wanted to chat about you about it. But if you haven't seen it, we can't. So, but
yeah, and also I'll just say, so many of my friends love it, and I love Scott Frank, who made the show. So you're not going to get me saying anything bad. I just wanted to.
But what else about? Also, the characters. Why in any of these series? They all seem to drink every 5 minutes, everyone in every series, and why aren't they more good characters in these? Why don't they try and make series about like role models who are more positive role models? It seems to be to me mostly negative people who they get to star in these shows.
Well, I think that I would attack it this way. I would say, I would just look at what are they trying to show? What is an artist trying to show you about the world that we're living in? And so you can look at it like they're valorizing somebody, or you could look at it like they're asking a question through the dramatic medium, right? You could look at it like the question is, why are we as a culture fascinated by X? What does it say when people who are like this are able to attract a following? and good people aren't able to. And perhaps the job of the person telling these kinds of stories is to hold a mirror up to what they see, and try to reveal stuff through this dramatic medium.
But is it flawed characters? People, they're more interesting to write, they're more interesting to watch, but they're influences people.
I mean, Richard III was a fucked up dude, and
he's taking Shakespeare.
Lear was a and Lear was a complicated character, and Iago is no good. And I mean, I don't think you can look to what's going on now as the thing. I think that's, as long as people have been telling stories, they're telling stories about what happens when good meets temptation, when good meets opposition, and the more base, what happens when the more base instincts of man come into conflict with the more idealistic instincts of man, and how does that wrestling match take place? And I think our best stories have always, in some way, tried to answer those questions.
In the old days, they always had the good guy and the bad guy, and the good guy was, he was immaculate. And nowadays, the screenwriters or the showmakers think that that's not a real reflection of humanity, so they flaw the main character as well. But don't you think you need some role models that people can? I mean, don't you think it affects you if the lead character is violent? That it does make people violent, or if they have these values, it does affect society. It's not a mirror, it may be a mirror, but it reflects the power back,
Not for me to say, man.
Yeah, but I heard Oliver Stone in a movie say that he's not responsible for his for violence on the streets, but people watch his movies and they do get more violent. It is, if you watch pornography and nothing happens down there, you want your money back. So it's the same with violence and all these other things like drinking. If everyone's drinking, I mean,
yeah, I think I've made maybe one thing ever that had anyone shoot at anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, most of maybe one movie of mine, I think, or maybe two, but generally that's not. Our show has no physical violence, really. Very, very, very little physical violence. I'm not that interested in physical violence as something to depict.
Yeah.
That's just not what I like watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. I love Quentin Tarantino movies. And I love a lot of early Oliver Stone. There's a lot of Oliver Stone movies that matter a lot to me. I'm pretty big on artistic freedom. I want people to be free to create what they want to create and to hold whatever mirror up they want to hold up.
Do you think they're like drinking and smoking every 5 minutes is because I heard one actor say that she got upset with another actor because he was peeling an orange in a scene and he kind of stole the scene, because actors need to have these.
I don't know. That's not what I don't know where you're going with this, Jack.
I'm just trying.
It's not really my. No, man. To me, no. These actors are trying their best to inhabit these characters. They're not trying to steal scenes from each other.
Okay. That was just one thing I was noticing is that maybe it's just because in The Queen's Gambit she is drinking continuously. So that's the only series I've seen recently.
But if you've only seen one episode,
Yeah. Well, I think maybe 2 or 3, but yeah. She's heavily drinking. But okay. What else?
Yeah, but you got to ask yourself why, right?
Well, because she's a flawed character and she's the other side of the genius. So they're trying to show that she's a genius player. So she has the flawed side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that I think showing a flawed character doing flawed things leads to people doing flawed things in their real life. I don't know that I don't know that I've seen the evidence that that's true.
All right. What about you? Because you did a lot on Vine with these screenwriting things as well. No, you did try and give lots of advice for young filmmakers.
Yeah, advice to just try to give yourself permission to create the work you want to create, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I this is like I said, I think when people allow themselves to be creative, they have the chance to maybe get out of their the daily doldrums a little bit.
Well, no, they were great. I saw a few of them, and they're really.
Well, yeah, it made me feel good to try to see that. I would get letters from people who talked about the fact that they were able to have some sort of a breakthrough, and it made me feel really good. Anytime I can help somebody become a better version of themselves, what could be? I mean, why else are we here?
Yeah, 6-second screenwriting lessons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to ask you what. So Billions is about.
Yes.
Is about. Because you're a poker player as well, yeah. Do you still play poker?
Yes, sir.
And because you made Rounders, and you did lots of. What was the other one? Knock Around Guys. That was also about poker.
No. The show called Tilt was about poker, and then Ocean's 13 is a gamble. It takes place in casinos.
What about that one where they went to? Where they went to, was it Cuba or somewhere, or they went to Mexico? It was Justin Timberlake.
Costa Rica, Runner. Yes, true. Also a poker movie. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just trying to think of for your song. That could be a theme too. Is it money? If Billions, and poker. Is that an angle you think, or?
I don't know. It's your song, man. I think it's going to be whatever you think it is.
So why did you choose to do Billions? What was the?
Fascinated by these. What I saw, Dave and I saw as how these billionaires seem to us to operate like nation states. They were able to move through the world sort of unchecked, and this was before Trump became president, really before he even announced he was running. And we noticed that people were treating these billionaires as though they were superheroes. And we weren't sure that was the way they ought to be treated, and we wanted to explore it. We wanted to explore what it was like. And we also noticed that United States attorneys, U.S. attorneys, who were federal attorneys, had a tremendous amount of discretion as to what they would prosecute. And they were like kings also. And we thought if you set this nation state against a king, you could have something that was worth spending years telling a story about. And it turned out that we were right about that.
But did you glamorize them, do you think, as well, billionaires? I mean, do you think that's...
Not if you watch the whole show.
I haven't. So. I mean, it's pretty... They get seedy, you see the inside lives of these. It's not
you see the lives that they live. You see the lives that they live, but you see also the cost. They get a certain kind of freedom, but that freedom oddly comes with a different kind of shackle. Right? Like almost that's the problem with being human.
So they ask people to dominate them in their private lives. They like to...
Well, that's the U.S. attorney. That's on the U.S. attorney side. I think it must be hard. If you haven't seen any of my stuff, why'd you want to talk to me?
I've seen the other movies. Yeah, I haven't seen Billions.
Oh, okay.
I try to avoid series because this is the Queen's Gambit my girlfriend wanted to watch, but I haven't watched anything since. I think it was because... Breaking Bad was it took up so much time in the end.
I understand. No, of course, I understand. I go through periods of watching stuff and not watching stuff also.
Why do you think, because we're doing this, I'm doing 3 episodes of my podcast a week. So I'm doing 12 songs. I'm doing 12 songs a month. So I'm kind of...
That's unbelievable. That's incredible.
Well, I'm trying to follow like the kind of the Netflix model, this series, because a lot of other artists, they just do, 12 songs every 2 years. So I'm kind of inspired by that because, you have all this equipment and all this gift and ability and this, you're writing. So you might as well do it for a living, no?
I can't wait to hear the song that comes out of this.
It's not I haven't failed yet. I mean, I've gone into a lot of interviews and I had no idea what I'm going to write about, but somehow the next morning the song comes. But yeah,
of course it will.
Definitely hasn't let me down yet. But I was hearing an interview with Beck, the musician, and he said that, which is quite sad. He says that in the only time he gets to really play music is when he's going into the studio to make an album, you know, because he's doing so much promotion work and, you know, interviews and traveling and I guess playing shows pre-COVID. But
sure, yeah. I've had a lot of musicians talk about the one, you know, they're able to play more now that they're not out on the road playing.
But do you think that
they're able to spend more time writing?
The music business model should change with this, you know, because you used to, when you were...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love going to concerts and I miss seeing live music. And like I watched the Country Music Awards last night and it was great to see people playing songs, you know. And I've watched some, I guess friends of mine have done little concerts and I've watched them, but, you know, online. I love the communal aspect and I can't wait for us to be able to go back to it where you're in a room with people and you're hearing great music and it elevates the soul.
Well, when you would, I mean, what I'm saying is when you started, you know, you make an album because you had to print it, you know, you had to make vinyl, you had to make CDs and you had to send it out all over the country. So there was a lot of costs. And if you're going to print a single, you might as well print an album, you know, so, and you can only afford to do that once or twice a year. So, but nowadays, what's stopping people, you know?
Right, you're right. You mean you can record, it's not so expensive to record.
And distribution is virtually free. You can be online straight away.
No, that's really smart and true. Yeah, no, it's true.
Sorry. Okay. And do you seem to work with the same actors quite? You keep coming back to the same actors.
Well, I love to find, David and I love to find a core group of artists that we can work with, you know, who become like a family to us. And I mean, that's a lot of this is writing for someone's voice is really an amazing thing. As you know, like when you're writing a song, like also finding the tone of a piece, the voice, and then the way that actors respond to what you write. There are certain actors, the ones we work with, who take what we write and elevate it. They make it so much better than it would just be flat on the page, you know?
So do they keep coming? How does it work in the movie business? Do they have to how far ahead are they booked? You know?
You know, they're booked. They are booked sort of ahead, but I mean, that's just the sort of, you know, you call somebody or email them and say, we're thinking about doing this project, you know, 6 months from now. I mean, you're always having those conversations. Hey, Jack, I think I had allowed like a half hour for this or 40 minutes for this. Oh, or
that's
is that all right?
No,
do you think, are we close? Do you have close to enough?
Something will turn up. Maybe tell me about your next project, because that could be.
All right. No, I want to help you. I want to get there for you.
Yeah,
I want to
help
you
song.
get there.
You know, this is what you're going to be remembered for. I mean, people are going to look back and remember this song. I mean,
well, like I say, you know, for me, it's not so much about the individual projects. To me, the thing is about finding a way to stay in the flow. My whole life is about, you know, find it creatively is how do you put yourself into a state of flow? Maybe that's a title for you, but how to put myself into a state of flow, so that it's not, everything isn't a grind, so that you get to that place where when you're working, you know what it feels like, where you're both hyper present and also barely tethered to the earth. You know that feeling when you're in the moment of creation. And so all the things I do, like whether it's meditating, walking, doing morning pages, like in the artist's way, it's all to try to find that elusive state of flow. And so I don't know what the next project is. I mean, other than we've announced we're also making an 8-episode series about the beginnings of Uber, a business story about how Uber came to be and its effect on the world. So working on that as well for Showtime and Billions. But again, it's for me that the thing really happens when I open the computer and I start writing, and I'm able to disappear into the work, as when I pick up a guitar and I'm able to disappear into the work. And that's why I chose to do this for my life, because it gives me that.
Because you could have been you could have kept being an AR executive, you could have been a music manager, you could have been a mogul, yeah.
I guess, yeah. No, none of that in the end. None of that really. None of that really appealed to me. I didn't want to be like the person shepherding the work through. I wanted to be the person taking the risk of doing the work, the risk of failing at doing the work. You know what I mean? That particular Philippe Petit kind of high wire act is more appealing.
But you never got on stage. I mean, with you're always in the background. You never felt the need to be, because one of the things about a musician is, you do get to go on stage. And
I've been on stage a ton, man.
As a screenwriter, it's kind of you're in the room. And
yeah, but I've done stand up a lot, and I've acted in movies, and I've acted in play. I've done all that stuff, and I host my own podcast. So obviously I'm getting up.
I've really enjoyed listening to your podcast. I want to say that it's a great show. Yeah,
thank you.
Enjoyed it.
I love talking. I love interviewing people. It's I'm just curious, so I really like doing it. I can't wait to hear the song you come up with, man.
All right. Okay. Well, it'll be something about the flow and the creative state. So I think
you'll nail it. All right. Take care of yourself, Jack. Be well.
Thanks, then.
Cheers. Bye.
I'm tuned into a frequency, channeling some higher voice, something that's not part of me. No need to make a choice. When I am in the flow, ideas come like I'm pulling on a string. Words and pictures and everything, perfectly formed with melody and swing. I'm picking out mine outside of me. Wake up gently, keep the water still, sliding out a dream, slip into the gentle flow, an unpolluted stream. I wish I could always be like this forever, in the moment, no before and nothing after. All I have, I own it. In peace I listen to the voices passing through my mouth. Until my conscious mind starts to wake and to crave. And in my bliss, then I get in my way. I get in my way. I'm a stubborn cow sat down in the road, a jackknife truck that's lost its load. I'm leaves on the line, snow on the tracks, the oncoming car that won't turn back. And I get in my way. Yeah, I get in my way. I'm the screaming neighbors and their barking dog, crying baby and a squealing hog. I'm wind on the mic, dirt on the lens, the ringing telephone that's an annoying friend. And I get in my way. I get in my way.
Hello and welcome to the end of the show. This is traditionally where I ask you to share the episode, rate and review it on your podcast app, and listen to the song on Spotify, iTunes, or even better, download it so you can have it forever from podsongs.com. It's only €1 or $1, and that money goes to pay for the musicians. Maurizio San Nicola, Massimino Vozza, and my researcher Dori Verbo. Thanks to you, the listener. See you next time.